business owners and marketers and influencers think that we live in an attention-based economy, but attention is not really the big commodity here. More people spend time online than they do talking to other people. We're more isolated and in our phones than we've ever been. We lack a sense of community and culture. It's not really an attention problem, is it? We're battling against the nervous system.
Yeah.
And which brands, which people can resonate with your nervous system the best? And are we ever auditing that?
Yeah, like who you're with, what you're doing, like does it align with your nervous system?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's not an attention problem.
No.
It's a resonance problem.
Yeah.
So we have to retune our resonance into what we want.
Yes. Hey guys, it is Alison. I am the host of your show, Alison Answers Mission Awake. I cannot wait to sit down with you today and go over how we are going to crush the mediocrity in your life that has been plaguing our society since the beginning of time. I cannot wait to have a real deal conversation that includes intelligence, fun, excitement, and real actionable steps to make a real difference in the life that you're living now and making it into something you can be damn proud of and excited to live. Sit down, put on your damn seatbelt, and get ready for the ride of your life. I go through the alphabet every time I work out and I say things about, I am athletic, I'm accepting, I'm composed, consistent. And it's just incredible. I think we don't realize that we're influencing, we're directing, as opposed to being a passive recipient of whatever thought or feeling comes our way. Like we're in charge of our day. Like when I wake up and I'm like, I get to choose how I feel today.
Yep.
And today I choose joy, enthusiasm, and peace. Even if I feel completely shitty. And I'm just like, I choose it. Because then it's like that power in the brain, the power of the decision is incredible, right? Yes. So,
and you're also creating mental loops for yourself that you will find confirmation bias throughout your day to reinforce those self-beliefs. And whether those are positive or negative, you're stacking yours with a list of positive things throughout the day for the brain to pull focus on. A lot of people wake up feeling like shit because they drank all night, or they wake up and the first thing they do is check social media. So now they're feeding dopamine all day and needing that fix. Some people wake up and say, I'm still broke. I'm still in the same house. I'm still with the same woman. I'm still in this spot where, list off any other negative thing. So therefore, what's the rest of your day going to be? It's going to be a negative loop. And I said earlier, the worst type of negative loop you can have is the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, it's true. Yes. I want to definitely talk about AI.
Okay.
Because I know you're an AI guy, but in part, there's more involved in like what you're saying here that I would just love to hear. Like, I just want to see my question here because, like, when you're describing this level, this type of marketing, right? I think in general, maybe we wouldn't use that term, and you could disagree with me, obviously. But do you think we're always marketing, but just not knowing that?
Whether you were intentionally doing it or not, you're always sending out signals.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. And we encode that from everybody around us all the time.
Yes.
So it's better to be conscious and aware of that than to just be passive about it.
Yes.
And most business owners, one, don't ever take the risk to invest into what signal they actually want to put out into the world, besides look at how great I am.
Oof.
What
would be the difference? What would be the difference of look at how great I am to a signal that resonates? Because people I feel like that's not even a good signal. Look how great I am.
It's not, because that's not what people like to talk about the most.
No.
What do people like to talk about the most?
Themselves.
Yes. So this is why I use the mirror analogy, right? If you can just be the mirror to where they want to go and what their aspirations are, then it's not really about look at how great I am. It's look at how great you can be and what your life already is. You just have to step into that power. You may be missing X, Y, or Z tool. You may be missing X, Y, or Z product, but you can get to where you want to go.
I feel like that's my message. You have the power within you, my friend. Like Dorothy, like Glinda, the good witch.
Yes.
Like it's there and you can do it. I never thought I could do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get to become signal crafters because remember, our nervous system doesn't give a shit about the actual words that we use. It's all about the energy that they see. It's all about the frequency.
Okay. So explain how we become signal crafters.
Well, we've gone through a lot of it, right?
We did. Yeah.
Like logic fails and frequency will always win.
Yeah.
And that belief is ultimately the real conversion metric because nobody buys a product, nobody buys a service. What are they really buying from us? They're buying a belief upgrade. And it's belief about themselves, not belief about how great you are.
Yeah.
It's belief about what's possible, belief about how their world works and what role they play inside of it. So when we start to stack this, every human decision runs through a series of subconscious filters, right? Do I believe that this person understands me? Do I believe that they're telling the truth? Do I believe that this will work for me? And do I believe I'm the kind of person who follows through on what I buy? And that's the real like sales funnel. We don't have to worry about stages or opt-ins or email sequences or software because you can literally transform belief through sending somebody a message on your phone or writing a Google Doc. Like we've had clients do 7 figures worth of sales just off of a Google Doc and not a single website. You don't
like a Google Doc they just sent, like an email or?
Yeah, or like through Facebook Messenger to people that asked for it, right?
Yeah.
You don't need the fancy stuff because if belief doesn't stack, conversion's never going to happen anyway.
Yes.
Information doesn't convert people, interpretation does. And most marketers operate like teachers, right? They dump information, data, benefits, features, but people don't act on information. They act on the interpretation of what this means. And what does this mean about me? Why does this prove about my place in the world? What does this validate that I already suspect? You don't need more facts. You need to shape what the facts actually mean because belief is an emotional logic. Logic makes people think, but belief makes people move. It makes them take action. And belief is nothing more than emotional logic, a story that explains the world in a way that feels true. And people don't want better solutions. They want better stories out of that. They don't need more proof. They need patterns that they recognize. And our job as business owners and as marketers isn't to make the offer make sense. Our job is to make the story of saying yes feel obvious. You feel it. You feel it, right?
I feel you saying it.
Right, because I've tuned into that frequency that I know is your frequency.
It is.
I've just gotten really good at doing it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right. But when you can learn to deliver that across what you're doing and do it through what we call emotional compression, which is like how we write, and it's getting into like some advanced copywriting stuff and some more like advanced business psychology stuff. But when you run this through that emotional compression framework and start to really dial that in, it doesn't like you could literally post about your dog taking a shit on the sidewalk and turn it into gold. Because there's emotional frameworks here and belief that what I'm going to show you or what.
How would you do that with the dog taking a shit on
going
the
to
side of the road?
resonate?
How would you emotionally compress the dog taking a shit on the side of the road, Alex? Can you share with us? I want to know because I could definitely get a video of my dog taking a shit.
Yeah.
Like when you say emotional compression?
Yeah.
Like this is what is that like? What does that mean?
It means that I'm writing to collapse resistance or that I'm speaking to collapse resistance within you. And there's a moment that when this is done right, that your reader or viewer kind of stops skimming, their bodies literally will slow down.
Yes.
And they feel the message more than they read it.
Yes. Yes.
That's what we mean by compression. And compression is not like minimalism, right? I could tell you a 25-minute story about your dog taking a shit on the sidewalk. But if I'm compressed in that I'm squeezing all the emotion into what I want you to feel, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from fewer words for the sake of brevity. Emotional compression is your ability to transmit maximum psychological weight and minimum space. So this is when it feels like every word that you say or write has felt gravity to it, where language kind of collapses defenses because it resonates so clearly that the nervous system says, that's true, that's me, I'm in. And I'm sure you felt that multiple times.
I think we just went to another dimension just now.
Well, it's because you feel it, right?
We're going.
Yeah.
there.
You feel that. That's the emotional
Yes.
compression. So you felt it multiple times throughout this podcast. You feel it when you're, interacting with brands that you absolutely love. But it isn't about how long this is. We could have gotten the emotional compression in a 30-second snippet.
Yes.
And people don't stop reading or engaging because things are too long. It's because it's too light, it's too vague, it's too padded, it's too safe for them. Every sentence that we talk or every line that we read, it either has to deepen the belief that people already have, we have to reveal the motives that are underneath, we have to build trust, and we have to collapse any resistance that they have in their life right now. And if it's not doing any of those things, our message will really die very, very quickly. Because
Yes.
what we are stacking emotional resonance for is language, as far as does it feel safe, sharp, and specific. And we're compressing all that emotional physics almost like it's a black hole. And black holes just have massive gravitational pull packed into a tiny space. They're not shouting, but they suck everything into them. And this version of compression moves the reader or the viewer forward. And it's not because you're necessarily yelling louder, but it's because that there's so much heavy truth to what is being said that it can't be ignored.
Yes.
But how do we do this, right? Because that's ultimately what you want to know and what your people want to know,
Yeah.
right?
I'll let you ask your questions because I got sunk in that. I'm in the black hole right now. This might sound a little braggy, but I think I do this in conversations, or I feel like I can. But whenever if I'm about to do even like a video or anything that's content, and I'm not in me or grounded, like what you were saying before, I just put it down. I just
Yep.
don't even want to do it, or I erase it, I delete it, because it just feels so doesn't feel
Useless.
good.
Yeah.
Useless.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, and I'm also going to ask your audience, do I have permission to kind of reprogram you a little bit?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I trust.
Because I want to reprogram very specifically because this is unconscious buying is what we're ultimately talking about, right? Whether you're buying into an idea or product, a service, we're ultimately reprogramming the nervous system because there's a nervous system war that will continue to go on for as long as humans are making purchases. And I'm super, super excited about that because we're no longer in the proving ground of like, like everybody can study how to push buttons, right? And anybody, I can train anybody on how to do that. But ultimately, like the real bloodbath of where this starts to come into the next stage is that we have to recognize that we're in a nervous system war. You're in it against your competitors, you're in it against people that aren't even in your same industry. But ultimately, what we have to do is we have to reprogram. And in order to do this, I'm going to show you the way to see influence and the way to read persuasion and the way that business growth, marketing, and advertising is going to shift in the next few years. Okay. It's different. It's different than anything else you guys have probably seen or heard. And so far throughout this podcast, I know you've seen it already too.
But
there's
I know I'm in a nervous system war.
Yeah.
I know it.
And when we start to reframe that and start to reprogram that a little bit, everything starts to make way more sense.
Yes.
Right. So there's 3 rules of emotional compression. The first is that we have to write to their body, not to their brain. And what does this mean? It means that we prioritize the felt sense of what we want them to feel over clever logic. So, and the easiest way to do this is like to look at a website, right, with our marketing message to see if things are going to convert. So let's say a lot of times you'll see as people's headlines like, this course will help you scale your business. That's awful. What does that do? It's pulling me all into logic, right? No emotional sense that I'm feeling anywhere in that.
Right.
So what if we reframe that to no more waking up wondering if this month will cover the bills?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The second line that I read hits where they actually live. It bypasses that limbic brain system and lands in like a bomb inside of their chest because it's targeting Maslow's hierarchy of needs at survival of safety and security, right? This is lower level stuff inside of that maps of consciousness that we're marketing towards at this point. The second rule is that we compress from clarity, not for speed. So most people will trim their website or trim their ads or trim their organic content to make it shorter. But where we compress, you actually make it stronger. This means that we're removing a lot of fillers, we're removing justifications. People will say the things that they've been trying to name for years, and it's like, you're not broken, you've just been surviving for too long. That'd be a great frame for you to kind of anchor around for your brand specifically, Allison. You're not broken, you've just been surviving for too long. That sentence has a ton of emotional compression, right? And then the last rule is that you have to make the reader or viewer feel seen in 7 words or less. And this is like a punchline rule, that your best line should carry resonance in a single breath. Some examples: you outgrew your old life quietly, or this isn't hustle, this is healing. Or let's see, what's one more that I can give you? It's time that your income matched your insight, right? Because the compression is the opposite of dilution. So it's truth per square inch or truth per second, right? And when we audit our information, when we audit our marketing, we have to look at it through that compression lens. And we really have to audit, like, is this saying something true, or is it just true sounding? Could I say this in fewer words and make it land harder? Does this make them think about me or about themselves is another big one. Like, what we talked about earlier, right?
We want them to think about themselves.
Always.
Yes.
Because that's how we get people to open up.
Yes.
And the last one is like, I use this a lot, is, would someone underline this in a book, or would they quote it back to me? And if the answer is no, it needs to be cut, it needs to be tightened, it needs to be rebuilt.
Yes. That's good. Really good.
That's how we start thinking and stacking through emotional compression.
Yes. I love this. How does all of your knowledge, everything that you're doing, your work, how does this, let's just talk about AI. Let me emotionally compress this. Let's just talk about AI.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I have direct questions about this. And I
Okay.
wrote them down with the help of AI.
Let's go AI.
I say, let's go. All right. So basically, there's a few things also that you said I just want to touch on. You unlock the mind and to unlock the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just would love for you to explain that. I have that here. And we'll go into AI too.
Yeah, so that's one of the taglines that we use for our business. I mean, I feel like I've demonstrated that for all of you today, right?
You did.
When we start to understand the psychology and the energetic frequencies, because we're chemically and electrical based beings. So therefore we have magnetism, we have fields of energy. There's, depending on how quantum you want to get with this, we're like
quantum.
We're like 99% light anyway.
Yes.
So, which means that Nikola Tesla was right, that you can understand the world through sound, frequency, and magnetism. So when you start to understand that our minds are picking up on all of this, and that out of the 11 million bits of information that we get per second, we're only processing 40 to 50 bits of it, it doesn't mean that the rest of that information isn't coming in. It is. It's just not being focused on.
Yes.
And it's being either assimilated or categorized or associated to other areas. So when we start to understand how the brain works and how the mind works, you can really unlock a lot of your growth, and you can unlock your market into where they need to go. Because the best brands don't just market to where people are at today, they're marketing to where that audience is going to go over the next 10 to 20 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, so tying this back into AI, I'm really disappointed in Google.
Tell me.
For the longest time, one of their mottos was do no evil.
Oh, okay.
And they're starting to bring it back a little bit, but I would argue that them not being in the race to the best of their capabilities for AI is actually doing evil to their audience base.
How?
Because AI is going to be a tool just like Chrome is, just like Photoshop is. Like,
Yes.
you can do evil with Photoshop.
Yes, of course.
But it doesn't mean that that's the primary intention of what most businesses use Photoshop for. And there's going to be a lot of that with, right now, they have a lot of companies and a lot of small businesses that depend on their ad network to be really strong.
Yes.
And right now, with the AI scene that it is, 80% of Google searches are ending without a click, meaning that people are getting the answer that they were searching for in the AI overview window and then leaving.
Yes.
So if that process around their AI and how that's integrated and what that does to their ad network doesn't sustain their current customer base, which is almost everybody, because let's face it, very few people use Safari. Unless you're over the age of 65, you're probably using like Bing or Opera or one of those other search engines. But ultimately these tools are here. I mean, I fly all the time and I see people that are in their late 50s to mid 70s using TikTok and using AI. So it's not like that there's an age gap with this, but they have a responsibility to their user base to be on top of this. And I don't think that they have.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's what, people are frightened of AI, but I feel like, just like money or anything, it's as good as the good it does. And it's as bad as the bad it does, right? So more good people using it as, I feel like I use it as like a thought partner, like helping me to, you know, learn more, grow more, be better. It really teaches me so much. So how is like the science of attention, changing in this like AI world? Do you see like a difference? Like, well, how is it changing?
I've not really looked at it from that standpoint.
I'm glad I asked a question that you haven't looked at.
I think social has done more for our attention than AI has. My initial reaction, which might not be right, is that it might actually be forcing us to question a lot more
Yes.
of
Like what's real?
yeah, like of what's real versus like what's specifically curated for me.
Yes.
Is that in alignment with what I actually enjoy or want to consume? So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, a lot of the social media platforms transitioned away from like quality of account and more into information that they think is relevant to you or content that's relevant to you based on your interests.
Okay.
And that was a big shift because it's why you no longer needed to have the 10,000 to be like a verified account or, had to have 100,000 followers to be considered relevant. That's not the case anymore. So it decentralized a lot of that power, which I think was a really good thing.
Yeah.
It prevents thought bubbles and kind of echo chambers around certain ideologies that aren't necessarily good for society.
Mm.
And it forced a lot of content creators to start getting more dynamic and more relevant to their audience base. And relevancy is one of the things that actually piques the RAS, right? Is this relevant to me? Is it believable? Is it unique? Those are the three metrics for that. But it really drove into better content for better people.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
So
that's cool.
what I think is going to be fascinating with AI and is this relevant, believable, and unique for me is companies are probably going to start creating custom AI influencers for their audience.
So let me ask you this. In terms of this is what I wonder because I see really incredible people like Dr. Joe and let's say Mel Robbins or
Mhm.
something. And I'll click on something and it sounds like it's AI. It's their voice, but it sounds like it's AI. And I know Dr. Joe and I just know it's not him. Like I know that even the things he's saying. So I'm like, they just have a picture of him. They're not saying it's him,
Yeah.
but it's his voice. So in the AI driven world, right? Let's say we're moving forward in it. Let's say we're describing being on the same frequency and all the things that you're describing, that kind of influence and alignment. And then if what I'm perceiving is that let's say somebody like me would be pushed to have an AI fake of me, somebody just who just says my stuff. How could that carry a frequency? It can carry my words, my message, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, so I everything in me is like, I wouldn't do that because it just feels so fake anyhow. But I also believe in being sure that I'm forecasting, looking ahead and ensuring that I'm in alignment with the world that I'm living with in order to be a good influence in it, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think so getting to like future proofing ourselves, there's going to be a premium on human produced content. And
Oh,
whether that's on social media content, whether that's in-person seminars or even virtual seminars, having that be run and curated by a real person and not an AI is going to come with a premium,
that's awesome. Yeah.
which as it should, right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm going to mass produce junk,
Yeah.
it needs to be junk.
Yes. Oh, I like that. That makes me feel better. Because, I mean, what do you think's the most important thing? What do you think is the best way for we can say a business owner or just like just person who is not a business owner, the best way to befriend and utilize AI now?
Kick Alexa out of your house or out of your business would be number one. I
Could
say
you?
that jokingly, but also not jokingly.
Yeah.
The other way I think is exactly how you described it earlier as a thought partner.
Yes.
And I ask my AIs a lot around like a good example. I'm getting ready to launch a book this year. It's been done for a minute, but we all have these mental programs of like, I'm not worthy. This isn't good enough yet. Nobody's going to read it. And therefore we don't put any projects out. Right. And I'm super guilty of that. I can't tell you how many projects I've shelved at literally the 11th and a half hour before the clock strikes midnight around not putting stuff out. But I asked my AI, like, what am I missing about this book launch that you would recommend? And I ask it a lot of show me where the plot holes in my thinking is, and like what area. So if I were to act as, a 9-figure CEO that runs this type of company or that wants this type of information, what would they want that I've not included?
Yes. Yes. I
And
ask, yeah, that's good. I ask questions kind of like that. Like, what are my blind spots? What am I missing here? How can I move this to this?
Mhm.
Right. And then he like spews out so much stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't even have time to read this.
Yeah.
Right. But so when you're like, what would you say right now from our conversation is the thing that people are missing most for like a beautiful life?
Ooh, what a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll break this down into two categories.
Okay.
I'll do one for business owners and then I'll do one for people that don't run businesses.
Okay. Yes.
The first one for business owners is that most business owners do not read fiction and they are robbing themselves of their ability to think creatively because of that.
This is incredible. I just have to tell you, this is where alignment comes in. I interviewed a woman. We always ask what the last book they read, what is the most influential book? And she describes a book that I've never heard, but it's written by Tolstoy and it's very, very long and I can't remember the name of it. But it's a book it's a fiction novel. And she explains this poetic summary of this book and how it has through history and how this person in this book has taught her all these significant lessons. And I was like, you know what? I should be reading some fictional books. And then you come on and say this. And I just think it's funny because she expanded me I unconsciously just felt it was like less than, but it's not. I mean, I get that.
Right.
I used to have my kids, because I homeschooled them, I'd have them read stories, instead of like facts, stories about, the historical events, right? Yeah. So that's amazing. What were you going to say next?
Well, I think this it not only expands to business owners, but people that are like self-help addicts really need to consider crossing over into fiction. And for like the last decade, I thought fiction was a huge waste of time. If
Me
it
too.
didn't get me closer to like my financial goals every month, it wasn't worth reading. If it didn't come with frameworks, models, or like step-by-step breakdowns, I'd most likely skip it.
Me too.
And I thought it was because self-help was efficient and that fiction was kind of more indulgent. And it wasn't until I burned out twice running my business, maybe 3 times, depending on how you score like a nervous system breakdown,
Yeah.
that something strange started to happen, which was my fiance, then my now wife, was like, you just need to start reading fiction. And what's funny is like God speaks to her for me in so many different ways. And she was like, yeah, I've been telling you to do this for like the last year and a half, but you just not done anything about it. So side note, all right, like we often see the glimmer, but we don't hear the screams. But what's really interesting about fiction is that when you start to take story structure seriously and character development, it expands into your business life as well. And it's usually not overnight, but it's really fundamental because you start thinking bigger about these different complexities and how human emotion plays in. You start to think and write a little bit sharper and deeper and to have more of that emotional resonance. And this is because fiction specifically fires the brain differently than nonfiction does. So there was a study out of Emory University that shows that reading fiction increases the connectivity in the left temporal cortex, which is responsible for language and meaning. But more interestingly, also in the central sulcus, which is a region associated with the embodied simulation or experiential memory. So what that means for people that aren't neuroscience nerds is that your brain doesn't just read a story, it actually lives it.
Yes. Oh my
Right?
God, I love this.
So when we start doing this, you'll notice that if you were to take like a before and after test, that your theory of mind, which is your ability to model what other people are thinking about you, your empathy, your social intelligence, and your creative problem solving will go way through the roof. And it's because fiction trains our default mode network, which is the internal simulation engine that builds our sense of self and future. It shifts your identity inside of there and allows you to imagine multiple realities and hold complex paradoxes at the same time. And this is why, like, if you study really elite founders and creators and even like generals/strategists, they'll often cite fiction, not self-help, as their deepest wellspring of clarity. And, when you talk to business owners and other like self-improvement people, if you ask them, like, has the Wall Street Journal ever like changed your mind?
Yes, right. True.
No, it's always through stories. So
Yeah.
I would say, like, if you can really start to wrap your head around different genres and like where you want to become and what you want to go through, there's an endless amount of fiction books that you can probably resonate with. So I would say like that's one thing that I feel like is a huge takeaway that most people, especially in the business and self-help world, like we just don't take seriously enough. And because of that, like going back to looping, you're only going to loop the same ideas.
Yes.
Right? So you're going to get cognitively reinforced into these paradigms and these ideas. And if you feel stuck, why would you go to the same thing you've been looping for the last 5 to 10 years?
Good point. Yes. I love this is such wealth right here because you've just changed my mind. And because it makes complete sense to me. And I remember more than one client saying who had basically terrible parenting, completely neglected
Hmm.
that fiction and books were their parents and their life. And that's what raised them. And I can see that you're in the story and you are being transformed by that story. So I would say, let's say you want to there's a certain part of you that you want to develop. And I could just say something physical because it's easy to do. Like, let's say I wanted to be able to walk on my hands. Let's just pretend. So then I read a story, a fictional story about a gymnast. It's just an example. It sounds silly, but like, would you want to point it toward, just something that you want to embody or just creativity and fascination? Probably both, right?
It is both, but I would actually point you towards the person that you want to become. So if you feel like that you lack courage, right? Finding books where the main character grows courage throughout that book.
I love that. Yes.
Because then our brain is going to start to train ways to see in our own lives because of the default mode network, how increasing our theory of mind, how we're actually able to do this.
Yes.
This is what I mean by we're playing in a nervous system war, right? We're no longer the access to information and theory and strategy is endless. And AI has helped a lot with that. Because you no longer have to read 30 blog articles to find what you're looking for. It'll summarize all that for you and find you the most relevant information that's unique to you.
Yes.
But you can't develop a better nervous system or one that's more in alignment with where you want to go by reading more nonfiction or self-help.
I'm changed. I'm a different woman today because of Alex.
Hey, guys, how are you? Isn't that amazing? This story that we're hearing on this show is great. I want to just give a shameless plug of my book. I would really want people to have a good look at my book and to understand what it really is. I used to be ashamed to plug my book. And then I realized, how is that right? To keep the information, the 30 years of experience that I have, the 8 years of education, the trauma that I grew out of and learned how to manage and how to manage emotion, all the training I've had in neuroscience and quantum physics. How can I keep that from the public. So it's not, I used to think it was like something I should, be humble about, but being humble is silly when you're keeping things away from people that they need. So what I want to tell you about my book, and I hope that you do get it, because I think it will really help you. I've gotten a lot of tremendous feedback about my book, and that it's really, really of great value to a lot of people. And what it is, it's an interactive read, and there's inside of it, there's journal entries. So as I'm teaching and going through the book and teaching you how to create the life you want by understanding how you're wired, how your thoughts, feelings, how your words, how thoughts are things, and the neuroscience behind it, and how we are programmed from the time we're 0 to 7 years old to live a life of mediocrity or a life of poor design because of meaning that we attached to events when we were children that just became our programming. What I want to tell you is that there is a way out, and it's a simple way. It's very simple. I believe in the simplicity and the grace in healing, and that it doesn't have to be a big work. So I would love it if you'd get my book. It's a best-selling book on Amazon, and it's my first, and I encourage you to get it. It's called The Wake Up Call, an interactive read for building the life you want. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks so much for being on the show, and let's get back to it.
And then you just got to sprinkle in like some dragon smut throughout there, and your life will be set.
Dragon smut. I'm just not a dragon person, except
That's
for
all
like on Shrek when they're like, "Oh, you're a girl dragon." Like when the donkey says it, I love that line. I say it to people all the time. But anyhow, let me ask you this, because there's so many different things that I want to ask. You describe this nervous system war and how I feel like I have a nervous system war, obviously, inside. How would you describe what that is? And you were saying I can see how fiction could start to reshape that. But did you mean something else about that? Like, how would we bring
guess
harmony?
the best way to like frame this up is that everybody, at least business owners and marketers and influencers, think that we live in an attention-based economy. But attention is not really the big commodity here, because more people spend time online than they do talking to other people.
Yes.
We're more isolated and in our phones than we've ever been.
Yeah.
We lack a sense of community and culture. It's not really an attention problem, is it? We're battling against the nervous system.
Yeah.
And which brands, which people can resonate with your nervous system the best? And are we ever auditing that?
Yeah, like who you're with, what you're doing, like does it align with your nervous system? Do you
Right.
mean? Yes.
Yeah. And that's not an attention problem.
No.
It's a resonance problem.
Yeah.
So we have to retune our resonance into what we want,
Yes.
which means that we're really going after the nervous system more than we're going after attention.
Yeah.
And the brands that do this the best are the ones that are going to win in the next 5 to 10 years, if not longer. And the brands that don't adapt to this are the ones that are going to get forgotten.
Yes.
Which is why they should hire me.
Yes. How would I adapt to it?
Shameless plug.
No, do it. I want everybody to go to you, but then there's none left of you. But anyhow, how would I do that?
How do you retrain your nervous system for this?
Yeah.
A lot of it starts with our inputs, but also going back to that maps of consciousness of where do you naturally call home, and really identifying that shamelessly, like being okay with where you're at. Like if you live in a state of anger as your predominant state, which I know you don't, you're Miss Bubbly and Joy is most of your state. Once we can, without judging ourselves, be okay with where we're at, then we've got a good map of where we're going.
Yeah.
But you have to be wanting to find that answer, because what we may think is our natural state, other people might see differently, which means that we have to take into account what they say too, because people see us for what we actually put out, not what we internalize.
It's very true. There's this one little practice I do that has helped me a lot, is that before I leave the house or leave any transition, like my car or just wherever I'm going to go into a place, I'll notice my body, start to feel whatever it is, tension or, pressure, nervousness, whatever it is. And I'll say,
there's a trigger.
Yeah. But what I try to do is that I used to always be leaving my house. I always think that I'm always giving, which I am. I give a lot. But I'm like, I started to realize that I'm leaving the house to get. I'm leaving the house in lack. I'm leaving the house needing something. So before I leave the door, as many times as I remember, I stop and breathe and I say, all that I need is within me now. And I'm not going out to get anything. I'm going out to give. And that's not in that weird codependent way. I'm going out with everything that's needed is here. And how may I best be of service to God and man today? And just being like I won't leave if I'm looking, I'm seeking, I'm trying, but it's like a balance also because you also are, whatever. But I think it just does change the way you are. You're not requiring anything, so you're less anxious, or you can just be present. So I think when I'm looking for something, I'm not fully present. But when I give up, I don't want anything from you. I wanted a lot from you today, Alex, honestly, but not from lack, just from, interest and fascination and all of that. But I do think that it changes my nervous system. What do you think of that?
What's funny is I'm the exact opposite.
Interesting. Tell me.
For me, when I leave the house, just listening to your example, I feel like I'm leaving the house to give, and when I'm home, I'm getting and I'm receiving.
Yes, but that's my intention is what you're doing.
I don't know if mine's right though.
But the end is it
Because then I don't want to travel. I don't want to go places. I don't want to do this because I feel emotionally and energetically drained doing so.
Oh, okay. So maybe we're thinking
Right?
something different.
No, I think we're in alignment. I just think mine's in a flipped state of yours, which is really interesting.
But if you think about it this way, right? Let's think about it. So you're at the door and you're like, okay, I'm going to receive at home. Like this is where, right? So this is like a place that I'm going to be filled and met. But I think the state of going out in lack. So you're saying I'm going out to give, which is like people taking, right? But that's different because if you go out so let's forget about going out to give. I'm going out whole. I'm going out. There's no lack within me. I'm like trying to get anything. I don't even have to, the intention doesn't even have to be that I have to give, because that could even be lack. Because if I feel lack, then I have to give. I have to, validate my presence, or I have to give to you because of what I have, or what, like it's like that. So it's like that kind of a little distorted way. So if we look at the layers of it, it can be just different. If you're leaving if you have no lack within you, then you're not giving anything that isn't just overflowing and not it's just nothing, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. It's helpful. It's just being in the present. Head, heart, feet, same spot. I don't have to do this. I don't need to take. I don't have to give to get or to justify ourselves, right? To be present there. Like if I'm going to show up, everybody, oh, you're a therapist. Can I tell you a story? Can I ask you this question? I'll be like, no.
It's like being a nurse. Does this look infected to you? Like, bro, we're trying to eat dinner.
Everything's fucking infected, okay? We're all crazy. I don't know. Like, yeah. So anyhow, let me see what my summary questions are for you.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, God. I have such a deep one. I don't even want to ask it. It'll take forever. Okay.
No. That's the one I got to ask then.
All right. So finally, what's the next frontier of neuromarketing? I think you've said it, and influence. And where is this all heading? I think you just told us.
Yeah, it is. It's with the nervous system more.
Yeah, but the thing is that where is it all heading with something that's going to align? It may not be heading that way with everyone else, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
So maybe that's not the trend, but we never want to be on the trend, right? Do we? No.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be on the front side of it.
Oh, true. Okay.
It's always more expensive on the front end of it.
Yeah.
If you have more trial and error.
True. What daily habits or rituals help you stay at a higher level of consciousness?
Reading and writing daily.
I love it.
I can always tell when I'm not writing daily to the level that I should be.
And would you say primarily that's like a journaling thing, like just processing what's going on inside? I love that. Yeah. Do you have specific practices for focus, creativity, or recovery that you recommend to leaders?
Reading and writing.
Yes. Okay.
And I say that because we are really bad about keeping so much in our head.
I agree. Oh my God.
And
Yes.
that's the worst place for us to keep information
It's true. It is true.
because it's not processed. It's not, especially if it's information that has not been assigned meaning or association yet, then it's just like it's like if you got shot with a 22, right? It's a really small caliber bullet. It's just going to bounce around inside of you and it doesn't really care what it hits.
Yeah. That's really profound.
There's going to be a lot of collateral damage for information that's not associated or assigned meaning.
You know what's weird? In terms of internal family systems where there's like different parts, no bad parts, and there's like a part related to like the levels of consciousness, like I find like this little shamed part of me inside that will pop up. It's like you call it a trigger or whatever it is, scientifically, but it's like, and when that happens, if I give it a space, this kind of space to write in, to share, and to just have its voice, then that higher part of me can then just bring compassion and peace and whatever. So all it wants is to say it.
Yeah.
But we try to repress it and hide it and make it in terms of internal family systems, it's like exiled. And instead now all these other parts, I have to be a people pleaser, all these other things that have to come in and protect this part of me that feels ashamed instead of just giving the voice. And I think a journal does that.
Yeah, and most people are really afraid to keep one, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Outside of like they're afraid somebody's going to read it, but like that Reflect app that I showed you is end-to-end encrypted.
Oh.
Which is really powerful because most journaling apps don't do that. Like the back-end programmers can essentially see whatever. Not the case with Reflect, which is really cool. But if you're afraid to keep one, I would say you're afraid of your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Which is really a scary place to be anyway. But it also allows you to say, what am I so afraid of? Because they are me. My thoughts are part of me for at least the time being. They don't have to be forever. But if they're going to be a part of you, you should at least know what they are.
And nothing changes until it becomes what it is. If you don't know it, you can't change. You're not going to change it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just, like I said, it's dangerous because it's bouncing in there without association or meaning. So it's just going to latch on to, the brain's going to still sort and segment it into certain pockets. But wouldn't you rather have control of where that information gets sorted and segmented into?
Yes, it's so true. And I think, we've been taught forever to hide any of these, like, whatever non-acceptable emotions, whatever, or thoughts. Like, we've been taught that they have to be hidden away, and it doesn't help at all. Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
How do you balance science, business, and personal growth in your own life? Writing and reading, right?
That's a big part of it. And the other thing that's taken me a really long time, and I'm still not good at it, there's like, you want to talk about that dragging coming up again and biting you in the butt after you put it in a cage a few times, is assigning my worth to other people's outcomes because of my profession and not letting that be true. And instead assigning my worth to my intention of what we tried to do and knowing that we gave everything that we could for that situation to breed life.
That's my field too.
Yeah.
Assigning your worth to other people's outcomes.
That's so dangerous for me.
Yes. How does it affect you?
I mean, there's real stakes at play, right? Like there's times that companies come to me and they say, this is one of our last ditch efforts to turn things around, or it's not gonna, like, we won't see next quarter. That's really scary because people think of their businesses as their kids because they've raised them from the ground up, and to a degree they are. Like, we're not just talking about, and it pisses me off so much when people get all up in arms about, like people that are multimillionaires or like engrossing on $1 billion. Every single person I've met in that category that's made it, they're really great people.
Yeah, me too.
They're not these money-hungry schlups that everybody is portrayed as in the media. Yeah, there's some bad apples, but guess what? There's bad apples in every field.
Exactly.
Right. So when people come to us and they're saying, we've got one shot to turn this around, or, we've not been profitable since 2020, like
Mm.
those are real conversations. And we've had to tell people like, look, man, like you're honestly better not spending a single dime and actually closing your doors.
Ooh.
And that's tough because I'm a giver. I want to help people win. And especially when I know that there's clear and tried and true strategies to make that happen.
Yes.
And circumstances are what they are, right? Like we had a company come to us. They were a $25 million a year company, second generation owner, and they had let their labor and other operational expenses get so out of control that for every dollar they were pouring into marketing, it was costing them over $3.
Ooh.
And there was no lifetime value for their clients. There was no, like, everything was broken. And I was like, dude, like, as much as I would love to take your money and help you, like, ultimately I can't, because there's nothing I'm going to do to be able to fix this. And they ended up selling their business to a bigger conglomerate. He got his exit and he's happy, but I know that killed him. It put him in a really dark spot for a while because he had attached his identity to the outcome of his business instead of his intention with the business, which was to grow it and scale it and build it for the next generation.
You know what I love though?
Like, what?
Because I was thinking when you said it, that when you have to bring that integrity, that hard truth to someone and tell them what you believe you can do and not do, then that opens the door or closes the door to something that maybe they're not hearing as a scream. So it's like you may be the one that delivers the last message, which is painful and hard to deliver, but that man maybe was meant to have an exit and
Yeah.
go and was just not hearing, the screams. You just were honest and quiet enough for him to, you know, hear it in a different frequency.
I think that is what true love is for what you do
Yes.
and what you offer. It's not love is very rarely the easy conversation, right?
No, it's
That's why we pick life partners that can handle the ups and downs. The ups are great, but the downs are what actually matter more. Is you trust this person to help you when you're down, because they're not going to sugarcoat it and they're going to tell you what needs to happen.
yes, it's very true. I love that. So, Mr. I can never say your name. I hate
You got it. You got it the
Vonderhaar.
first time. You
I
can't.
know, it's just I feel intimidated by it, and it's been years. But I'm gonna say Vonderhaar. I'm just gonna call you that from now on, Vonderhaar.
Dr.
Okay.
Strange.
Dr. V. Okay, listen,
What you got?
you're an incredible soul.
Thank you.
You're on the frequency. You're a genius, like truly, but in like so many unique and winding, twisting ways. It's just incredible. It's incredible to sit with you. And I just feel like I can never get enough of like, and it's not like getting, it's like an experience. I feel like I'm changed and transformed by spending time with you. And I'm just so appreciative. It just came to me. I guess it was I got on the right frequency. Why did I never even ask you? But I'm just so blessed to know you and for you to be here today. And do you feel like there's first of all, I want you to be able to share any way that someone, like the way in which you can help people, like your services. I want you to be able to say that and share that here. And also just any last thing that you feel is important that maybe you'd like to say to people who are listening.
Yeah, the best way people can support, obviously, we do a ton of consulting and services, but for most people, a really good spot to start is actually reading our daily Substack, which is called the Neuro Insider. We publish daily on that, but we also publish a once a month newsletter that actually goes out. I'll show you.
I have one.
Yeah, so we publish magazines every month for people, to where we break down literally like step by step how to do certain things. Like the last one that came out in August was linguistic kill shots. So, which is essentially that emotional compression we were talking about, like how do you write and speak for emotional kill shots? And then we publish that every month. It's literally some of the most asymmetric leverage you'll ever get. It for $27 a month. Like you get pretty much a download of my brain and my team's brain from what we're learning from clients, from what we're learning in industry, what we're bringing in other industry experts to share. So that comes out, or if you want to pay, $7 a month, you can get pretty much unfettered access to all of our information from Substack.
So how do we do that?
I'll send you links.
We'll put them in the show notes. I want the links.
Yeah, I got you. We'll
Yes.
we'll
Yeah.
give you the hookup.
Yeah.
The other
Also, yeah.
The other thing is like there's no referral code or affiliate code for the Reflect app, but I would highly recommend that people use that.
Okay. Yes. You should be an affiliate.
They don't have it. There's literally no way to be an affiliate with it. But
Okay.
I've probably given them like $10,000 a month in business from people that I've
Yes.
because
How do
it's
you consult?
so good. Yeah, I do deep dives with companies. So where we'll audit your entire marketing, advertising ecosystem. We do it from the lens of kind of what we went through of the nervous system war, how that plays out, what we need to tweak, what we need to adjust. I do a lot of public speaking now, which scares the hell out of me, but it's good.
Oh no, you're the best. Yeah.
And I mean, Alison, you've seen this too. Like I'm different when I'm in a room versus
Yeah.
anywhere else, right? Like it's just a different vibe. And I'm not the rah-rah person for events. I'm the one that's going to come in and usually like make people do double and triple takes around everything they thought to be true.
They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not like that rah-rah either.
Oh, girl, I've got video that says otherwise.
I am the voice.
I am the voice.
Yeah. So, okay. So the consulting, when you do a deep dive into somebody's company, what do you do? Because I remember considering you as like, I'm afraid. I don't want him to look at my
Why? Don't be afraid.
scary, right?
Why is it scary?
I don't know. Maybe the part of me that's ashamed. Who knows? Like, so what do
Can't
you
be
do?
ashamed of this.
You look at the website. What else do you do?
Any and all marketing assets. And we run it through our frameworks that we have from ad buying to SEO to web dev to graphic design to influence principles to copywriting, literally anything that marketing can touch, which touches pretty much every part of your business besides your accounting team, marketing is involved with.
Yeah.
We help audit all that and then give recommendations on how to fix it. And then there's all the way up to like people hire me to be their fractional CMO.
Fractional CMO.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the whole world should hire you for that.
I only do that for 10 companies a year.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, I can't give the energy and attention that each person deserves.
Yeah. So that when you become the fractional CMO, are you first you do the audit and then that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. Okay. So is there anything that's important to you that you just feel like a burning desire that you want to say to anyone who's listening or?
The biggest one is, I guess, a lesson for myself, if that counts into this.
Of course.
I am notorious for playing too small. And I think a lot of other people are too.
Me too.
It comes from unresolved fear and anxiety and possibly shame or guilt. But the world needs people to be their authentic self. And I know like every influencer tells you to be authentic, but nobody really ever describes what that means. And I think a lot of it comes from that emotional resonance that we talked about and that energetic resonance of they don't really know where they are, how they stand in their own genius, right? Like I squirm in my seat when people call me a genius because I really don't think I'm that smart. I'm just good at a few really weird things.
It's just because you live with yourself. You don't know.
But that's a gift. Like I've been training, like when you said that, I said, thank you. Right. And that's been really hard for me to accept. But I think it's because I'm used to playing too small for where I know I'm being called to go, which for me is selfish, right? Of holding back because of my own self-beliefs about what I'm meant to be doing. And I've been working on stepping more and more into that power and authority, because power without the authority is illegal, right?
Yeah.
But when you have the authority and you have power, you have alignment.
Yes. Yes. So what are you doing to like override the playing small? I do the same. Because whenever, even if I'm asked to do something to go speak somewhere, I immediately am like, I say yes, but I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to at all. Like Tony Watley just asked me to speak at this thing. I'm like, really? Do you have the right number?
You know, this is
You know it's Alison?
Blogger, right?
He wanted me to come on his podcast. I'm like, do you know that this is Alison? Did you text the wrong number? Yeah. But I mean, that's a thing. It's such fear.
Yeah, but it's not like standing on a mountaintop for me type of fear, right? And peeking over the edge.
Yeah. What is it?
I haven't been able to like clarify and label it.
Yeah.
But I know it's some type of self-fulfilling prophecy loop that I'm still working through. And I think most of us have that to some degree. And
Yes.
in fact, I wouldn't say I know most of us have that to a certain degree.
Right.
And how different would our life be if we just didn't have that?
It's when. Like kids.
Did it.
Like,
Yeah, it's just like kids. You have no fear of falling off the
Yeah.
teeter-totter when you're a kid.
Right. I did, but that's another story. No, but yes, right.
So I would say that's what I'm personally working on, and I feel like that if I'm personally working on it, that there's a lot of other people out there that are doing the same.
You know what I'm doing with that is that I'm doing that, I was saying that IF, that internal family systems, like I'm taking whatever those fragmented parts of me, like the part that plays small, and I'm giving her a name, which I do, give them names. I also give the one who wants to be on the stage and is like dancing like a little child because she's blocking the one that's afraid. So I kind of like look at those little parts of me and I give them voice. So like the part that's like, so instead of saying, don't be afraid, just say yes. I mean, I do say yes, but what I say is I ask, I put my hand on my heart. I say, how old are you? And then I ask myself, where do I feel it in my body? And then I ask that little part, I said, well, I'll say, well, what do you, if it's, let's say it's afraid, I'll say, tell me your fears, tell me them all. And just like give voice, let that little girl share, I think they won't like me. I'm not good at that. And just, I don't correct it. And I just allow like any part of me that's compassionate or just to sit and listen and allow that to come out. And then what will then as the adult in me, the parent, like I will then do the thing, say, how about would it feel better if I spent a lot of time preparing for this? Would that feel safer? And then like, I try to like think of like what the adult part of me, the more divine part of me, how it would solve it, because I didn't have parents to solve it back then to make me not feel afraid. Just don't be afraid, or everybody has stage fright. Well, how could I show up in a way that would make you feel safer? And then the other one that's there, like dancing around, like, oh, look at me, aren't I great? That's the one that I have to, then that part is the fear part too. That's like, tell me I'm good. Tell me you see me. Tell me I'm valuable. Right. So I let that person talk like, how come nobody's clapping? How come nobody likes me? I'll look at my spin or whatever the hell I'm doing, right? I remember doing that when I was little, and it's just, then how about, we allow others to, and then, that other part of me is the parent of all of them. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Put it in your pipe and smoke it.
That's good.
It's, you know what I'm going to tell you something, Alex, honestly, it immediately helps.
What a gift.
It helps immediately. So like any part, like when that part that's, you just picture it, how old is that little Alex? It's really is playing small, like, and just know him. Like you journal, let everything come out. So like, but if you go in just in that interaction, it's like magical. It immediately lowers your anxiety.
Yeah.
It works.
That's so good.
You're so good.
What a gift. Thank you for having me today. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you so much for being on this show. You have been a wealth of information, and I just very strongly encourage anyone who can get more of Alex, go do that. Have him consult, have him look at your business. I mean, this man really makes a difference in life and with integrity, and it's a wrap.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. I just want to say to you that we are all together a part of the Mission Awake, a mission that's going to stop the mediocrity that's plaguing all of us. So if you got something here today, I ask that you would be a part of this mission and you'd share it with whoever you can. Take a screenshot of the show and share it on your Instagram. If you are looking for me, you can find me on social media platform Instagram, Alison Answers, or Lager Counseling Services. And give us a review and subscribe if you could to YouTube, Alison Answers. That's where you're going to get a lot of content. I drop stuff every day, goofy stuff, all different kinds of stuff. 5-minute videos that just get you moving in your day. Have a great week. See you next time.